If you're managing a team in today's workforce, chances are you've got quite a wide variety of people working for you. Not only are there religious, political, and ethnic differences to cope with, but most workforces today are multi-generational. It's enough to make a team leader feel overwhelmed. How in the world can you please everyone? Well, you can't. Not always, of course. But you can create a workplace atmosphere that welcomes and honors differences, attempting to bring everyone, regardless of their background, into the fold. We have to begin by talking about anti-discrimination policies. Most organizations have one, but many haven't evaluated them in years. These policies do matter, and they should reflect the changing state of our workplaces. Carefully read through your policy and make sure the rules and advice still encompass your team's needs. For example, your policy may neglect to directly extend protections to lesbian, gay, or transgendered associates. If you want a harmonious workplace, it's time to consider making sure all associates know that discrimination or harassment against LGBT team members will not be tolerated. Now, beyond that anti-discrimination policy, I wish I could give you a recipe for creating a workplace culture that accepts and celebrates differences, but sadly, it's not that simple. There are many dimensions of diversity, and as a leader, you'll have to learn how to successfully navigate your company's unique makeup. You can get started, however, by recruiting a diverse team. This is actually more difficult than it seems. You're naturally going to reach out to the candidates in ways you're familiar with, and by doing that, you may be missing other groups. Make sure you're diversifying your recruitment approach, reaching out to potential candidates in a variety of ways. And if you have a recruitment team, make sure these associates come from diverse backgrounds. Same goes for your hiring committee. For example, a minority applicant may subsequently relax more in an interview if they feel the workplace is inclusive and supports diversity. But how else will they know unless they can see it? When you do an interview for a new candidate, focus on their job skills and don't forget to incorporate questions about kindness and respectful workplace attitudes. By using scenario-based questions, you can get to the heart of whether the candidate will be able to work effectively with a variety of people. Now, speaking of working effectively, creating a culture of respect at work is absolutely essential. No one, and I mean no one, benefits from a tense, competitive workplace culture. As a leader, it's your job to set the tone. You can do so first by leading by example. Listen to ideas, support those ideas with feedback and action. Never, ever say or do anything that makes fun or criticizes another culture, religious, ethnic, or generational group. Yes, that means no off-color jokes or stories too. Even if you're pretty sure your comments don't cross the line, as a team leader, engaging in this type of behavior shows you believe it's okay. It opens the door for other associates, and they may or may not be as careful about crossing the line. It's also absolutely essential to pay attention to any microaggressions that occur at work. As the term implies, microaggressions are little slights of tiny offenses that lead to the downward slide in a company culture. If you notice microaggressions that are based on race, ethnicity, color, religion, or any other class protected by federal law or workplace policies, act immediately. Get the individual into your office and kindly explain the behavior they're exhibiting needs to change. Remember, this isn't the time for anger, it's a teachable moment. Take advantage of it. In fact, be on the lookout for all kinds of teachable moments regarding diversity. If something relating to workplace diversity happens in the news, talk briefly about the scenario in your weekly staff meeting. Or if a situation occurs at work, take a few moments without using names or pertinent details to help everyone learn. By making diversity and inclusion part of your regular work conversations, you're setting yourself and your team up for success. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this course, there are generational differences in nearly every workplace as well. Consider the workplace needs of baby boomers born in the 50s and 60s and a millennial born in the early 80s. Because of their different upbringings, these two groups will have vastly different workplace expectations. A baby boomer might be more competitive and someone who considers hard work, not innovation, to be the hallmark of a good employee. These associates might expect to work longer hours and may be dismayed if younger employees with less seniority or experience receives a promotion or pay increase that surpasses their own. Millennials might be just as close to the opposite as you can get. Millennials expect a good work-life balance. They've grown up with the belief that innovation and creativity are the keys to success, not simply putting in the time. These two examples are just the tip of the iceberg, actually. In addition to baby boomers and millennials, you'll find Generation Y, Generation X, and even some Generation Zs, all in the same office. Generation Zers were born sometime in the late 90s. So how do you meet the needs of all 5 generations in one work environment? The answer, flexibility. Let's talk about communication, for example. A baby boomer might prefer to schedule an in-person meeting, while a Generation Zer might just send a text. As much as you can, be open to whatever communication style works for your employees. You can, however, dictate that professional communication is a must. So for instance, you might let younger associates know texting is fine, but you prefer to avoid the use of acronyms. Or you might decide you'd prefer to stick to traditional messaging instead of social media chats like WhatsApp. You can also create opportunities for flexibility in scheduling. If your company is able, every generation will appreciate the ability to work the hours that best fit their schedule and their lives. Baby boomers might want to work part-time as they ease into retirement, and millennials may want to do paperwork at home. The sky's the limit in terms of what you can do. Get creative and watch as you attract some of the best talent. Here's one more example of how flexibility can help you serve different generations. Let's say you need to conduct a training session. If you can hack it financially, try offering 2 different approaches, both an in-person and online training opportunity. This allows the baby boomers to get the information in the way that makes sense for them, while allowing millennials to access the online training after hours. You can consider flexibility when it comes to your recognition and incentive programs, workplace routines, assignment scheduling, everything. You'll be surprised with what you can come up with once you get the ideas rolling. Once again, paying attention to diversity, both in traditional and generational sense, is hugely beneficial. News about flexibility workplaces spread quickly, and if you have all generations singing your praises, you'll have a host of talented applicants lining up for your next open position.